What is up, everyone? We are back for another beautiful day of baseball. It is 80 degrees and sunny here in Tampa, Florida. Not so much the case for a lot of places around the country, so we'll have to look into weather a little bit. We do have one obvious park factor, and that is in Coors. So let's get into it. Guys, how did yesterday go? Draft sheet, I'll start with you, my man DC, my man Gary. We're here to break it down. Hit that like button. Y'all know the rules. Let's do a little recap of yesterday, maybe even the early slate, maybe even talk some shit about Lance Lynn. DC, you got the floor. Let me hit it with me.
Yeah, things are good. Good day yesterday. Play of the day, Mr. Patrick Wisdom with the double dong in Oakland. So we'll try to keep that rolling, but we got to get the likes up. You know, I don't want to steal Kurt's host role, but hit the like button while you're here. We do appreciate it. And yeah, if we get a good number, we'll get the plays of the day out, of course, at the end of the show. But fun day of baseball. A couple double headers, small early slate, but a bunch of games tonight. Obviously, pretty decent weather around the country for the most part. I don't think there's any games really in any danger of getting postponed or anything like that. So, yeah, big slate ahead and excited to break it down with you two guys.
Gary, thoughts on the early slate? Maybe thoughts on yesterday? How'd you do? Stuff like that.
Man, I was terrible yesterday. Looking for a bounce back spot. I completely faded Pittsburgh yesterday, and that did not go well for me. Even though the winner in the $4 at least did not have a Pittsburgh stack. So it was I think it was a McCutcheon one-off in the winner on that $4 tournament. But we bounced back. I did not play the early slate today. Work got me a little bit, so I did not partake in those giblets. Hopefully everybody, I know Bobby put a core in the chat, so hopefully everybody did well or is doing well as the games wrap up. But definitely looking forward to this slate. I think it's a really interesting slate tonight, and I think we're going to have some pretty good picks for pitchers here.
Yep, and hopefully no one gets hurt. Hopefully no one gets shelled. Yesterday with DeGrom, that was hurtful. But
I mean, DeGrom I feel like 4 or 5 pitchers got hurt yesterday. I think didn't Hunter Green get hurt in the early slate, and then it just went on until the afternoon slate and the night slate too. So hopefully we don't get any funny business tonight.
Hunter Green got hurt early, and then DeGrom and Corbin Burns, who were the two chalk pairing, the two pitchers I used. Both were pitching pretty well. DeGrom had a no-hitter going, and then his wrist. I always joke because it's always he's always just absolutely dominating. There's absolutely no sign whatsoever of him being hurt, and then he's like, "Nah, I can't pitch anymore." I saw a joke that he must be like a CIA secret agent, and he's just so good at pitching that no one would ever suspect that he's got to go. He gets an emergency call in the middle of an outing, and he's out. I mean, I've never even heard of risk for a pitcher. It's bizarre.
Yeah, we need to ask JT about that. I mean, if he's in the secret squirrel land, JT might have a little bit to say about that.
All right, guys, let's go ahead and get into the pitchers. We don't have none of that nonsense to worry about today. Today's going to be a good day. Everyone's going to everyone stay healthy. The pitchers that should do well will do well. The pitchers we give out will do well, and we're going to crush. So, without further ado, Mr. DFS pitchers himself, DC. Who are the nuts tonight?
Yeah, it's another, I think, kind of thin day for pitching. Not that many arms going today that I'm super excited to roster. It's kind of the same thing yesterday. So we, kind of focused in on DeGrom and Burns, which I think would ended up working out pretty damn well. Had both those guys kind of not left with injury. We did see a pretty good game from Wesneski. We talked a little bit about him on the early show. It was brutal in his first 2 starts. But the Oakland A's, both their pitching staff and their offense can kind of be, what aids a struggling pitcher or even a struggling offense. We could see that tonight too with Marcus Stroman. I think he's an interesting discussion point. I think he's going to come in pretty highly owned at 8,800 on DraftKings, just given the matchup with Oakland and the lack of options. I'm interested to get Gary, your opinion on him. I'm having trouble with that expensive with Stroman. That's going to be chalky as well, but I certainly get the logic behind it. For me, there's one clear guy up top, same as yesterday. I kind of thought DeGrom and to a lesser extent Burns kind of stood out. To me, that's Spencer Strider tonight. I do think he's a tier above this entire field. He hasn't been quite the dominant force that we've seen, at least results-wise, that we saw last year. He's given up, 3 earned runs in each of the last 2 games, but underlying metrics look kind of all the same to me. I think he's pretty much the same dude. I expect dominance from Spencer Strider going forward. So big fan of him. And then beyond that, I think you could make a case for a number of guys. I think the SP2 that I'm most excited about is Nathan Eovaldi taking on the Kansas City Royals.
Whose dog's going crazy? I'm sorry. Someone's dog is going crazy.
I think it's outside my window, honestly.
My dog's barking outside my window.
That's you. Good.
She's outside, so I don't.
Oh boy, girl.
Can't do it. The wife is not home and cannot corral the dog, so she's just going to have to bark in the background. I'll put it on mute when I'm not talking.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Anyway, back to it. Nathan Eovaldi, 7,800 against the Royals. I think he's a good way to go here. It's high strikeout upside against this Kansas City team, with obviously this offense just not doing anything. I actually do like a couple of the lefty power bats against Eovaldi, but he is my second choice. Other guys I'm looking at, Jordan Montgomery, I think, is a good way to go. Clayton Kershaw looks okay. And then Logan Gilbert, kind of the final guy that I'm focusing in on. So, yeah, Strider's the guy that I'm locking into my 3 max, and then I'll probably play a different pitcher on each of my 3 lineups with Strider. I do think Strider stands out as the clear best option on this slate to me.
All right, Gary, I think I know who your favorite is, but hit us with the Spencer Strider goodness, and who else you like?
I'm going to shock both of y'all today. I just love the mid-range today. I'm in love with the mid-range pitchers. There's some clear guys that I'm just going to be way over the field on. DC mentioned Strider. He hasn't really, put up that massive performance he did, opening day against not opening day, but the opening series against the Nationals. He put up 31 DraftKings points. He's just been laboring a lot lately. I've been watching him pitch. He's not hitting the spots. He's just throwing a lot of pitches to get there. He's eventually going to, he's going to get you 20 DraftKings points fairly easy tonight. I have a feeling. I'm going to be under the field on him here today. I'm playing 20 lineups as I normally do. I'm seeing 45% ownership on a 10.4K pitcher. And I don't know. I'm in love with some mid-range guys here. So I'm probably going to keep my exposure to about 20% in my 20 lineups on Spencer Strider. And I'm just gonna pepper with these mid-range guys. And it definitely starts with Stroman for me. Stroman looks like he's going to be popular for good reason. He's in Oakland. He's been fantastic this season. I'm going to be way over the field on Stroman here. I just think the spot is incredible for him. And I really like him a lot. Logan Gilbert's another guy that I'm going to be really heavy on here. 8,500, very fair price tag for him here at home against Milwaukee. Nathan Eovaldi is a prime bounce back candidate here. I think he got Babbitt to death in his last start against Kansas City. I really like Eovaldi. I'm showing 6% ownership on him. I'm probably going to have close to 40% Eovaldi in my lineups tonight. Really like that. And then going down a little bit, another guy I like tonight, Brad Keller, 6,600. I like him here in this spot at home. He introduced a curveball to his repertoire, it looked like, when I was doing some research earlier this season. 6,600 against this Texas lineup without Corey Seager. They just haven't really done much for me. So I do have some interest in Brad Keller here. Like I said, 6,600. I'm probably not going to get crazy with it, but I'll probably have about 30% Brad Keller here tonight. And then one more flyer that I do like here. I doubt I'm going to end up getting any of him. Colin Ray. This Colin Ray guy, I know he's a journeyman, but just in Seattle, 6,700. I think he can get you 15 DraftKings points here pretty easily. But I'm probably going to be more focused on the foursome of Stroman, Gilbert, Eovaldi, and Brad Keller tonight. And I'm going to be under the field on Strider.
Did shock us a little bit. I was actually surprised when I saw the Eovaldi ownership myself, honestly. I think it's way too low. I feel like it's maybe kind of get some late steam because it didn't make sense to me. But DC, any last thoughts on the pitchers? Are we ready to dive into it?
Yeah, the Eovaldi ownership thing, I mean, if he's really 6 to 7%, that's just
I got 9. That's still
Yeah, anything under 10 for Eovaldi, I think is kind of crazy. I know he did get hit around by the Royals in that last start. What do you give up? 6 earned runs in 5 innings. But the more indicative number of what he might do going forward, 7 strikeouts to no walks, got a bunch of swinging strikes in that start. I definitely like Eovaldi over. I don't know. I'm kind of surprised, Garrett. I'm kind of surprised you're eating the Marcus Stroman chalk. I mean, we got years of history on Marcus Stroman not being a high strikeout pitcher. This is about as high price tag as we've ever seen for Marcus Stroman. I know the matchup's good in Oakland, but
So I do have a question for you. What do you see? I know you briefly mentioned Jordan Montgomery. Why would you pay $9,500 for Jordan Montgomery?
I just think he's a better pitcher than Marcus Stroman is, and the ownership difference. I think Stroman could be triple the ownership that Montgomery is. So that's definitely
I will say, captain's RPS projections really like Jordan Montgomery tonight.
Yeah, I'm generally higher on. I'm just not a Marcus Stroman guy. I never have been. So that was kind of the first thing I did when I saw how owned he was. And honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if he comes in higher owned than even what the projections are for his ownership. So I get it with Stroman. The only reason I would play him here is just the matchup, which obviously could work out. But I don't know. I just he's a relatively easy fade for me. I think Clayton Kershaw is going to go super low owned, but I don't know. I don't really want to pick on this Mets team right now. They're swinging some pretty good bats. They're really super patient. They don't strike out very much. So hard for me to get there. But yeah, Eovaldi, kind of my preferred pairing with Strider. Brad Keller, I did look into him, kind of anticipating maybe being in on him. He's been pretty effective through 3 starts, but I didn't like what I saw from Brad Keller, kind of looking under the hood. Same thing for Stroman, honestly. It's like, sometimes we get these early season results for pitchers, and like the actual results aren't as predictive of what they'll do going forward as some of the metrics that you can look at. And for me, I think Brad Keller, Marcus Stroman, despite their first 3 starts looking good, I kind of think they're going to be the same run-of-the-mill pitchers that we've seen for the last 3 or 4 years. Stroman's obviously been better than Keller, but I'm just not a huge believer in those guys going forward. I get the plays today just because, like I said, there's not really that many guys to go to. But yeah, for me, the 3 pairings that I'm looking at most likely on my own teams, Strider Eovaldi, Strider Gilbert, and Strider Montgomery. And then I do get it with Stroman. I did list Stroman on my player pitcher pool, but he came in 6th just because the matchup is so good. This is the only reason I included him. But yeah, I don't know. And
Can we touch on 2 more guys? Can we touch on 2 more guys? Because I know we're going to get questions for it. Can we touch on Sonny Gray and Blake Snell? I know I see a lot of ownership here on Blake Snell, and I'm not sure why. Can you talk the people off of the Blake Snell chalk, please?
Yeah, I'll start with Sonny Gray. I did consider including him. I just really don't like playing pitchers in Boston, but we have seen the Twins pitchers. Joe Ryan has been fantastic. Pablo Lopez, big improvement. Sonny Gray has come out throwing pretty well. So these Twins pitchers have been really good so far. So that is one encouraging sign for Sonny Gray. I'll be tested tomorrow with Joe Ryan, who I've been in on all 3 starts, who's just been ridiculous against Boston. I'll probably take the bait on that one just because we have less of a, we've seen Sonny Gray around for so long that I'm pretty sure he's not some ace. Whereas Joe Ryan, I think there's potential. He could be a true emerging, frontline starter. So Sonny Gray, I think, is okay. If this start was in Minnesota, I'd be in on Sonny Gray here in Fenway. Just hard for me to pull the trigger at 8,600. And then Blake Snell, we've seen
he's 7,400 on FanDuel.
Yeah. If you're going to use him, I would use him definitely over a FanDuel where that savings can go a long way. But he has not looked good to start the year. 5 walks against the Mets, 4 walks against Atlanta. Even the strikeouts haven't been there. I mean, he did get 9 in that first opening day start, I think it was, against Colorado. But, yeah, and we've seen Snell, right? He's super streaky. Like, he does go through phases where he is a true SP1. It certainly doesn't look like he's in one of those phases right now. And honestly, I'm not going to be using many pitchers against Atlanta this year while they're healthy, especially lefties. I mean, Acuna just Riley. Yeah, Murphy. Murphy. I mean, Albies and Grissom obviously too. Like, it's just not a place I want to go with Blake Snell at the moment. Definitely prefer Braves offense compared to them. But I would use Sonny Gray over Snell. And like you said, the super low price tag on Snell on FanDuel. Yeah, if you want to use them, way better play over on FanDuel than he is at DraftKings. FanDuel, I couldn't believe my eyes when I saw Marcus Stroman priced higher than Spencer Strider over on.
That's crazy. One thing I noticed on Sonny Gray, if I might interject here, so far this season, I know it's a small sample, but man, he's got a 7.5 xFIP against lefties and only a 4% strikeout rate.
Sonny Gray.
Sonny Gray, and this Boston lineup has 5 lefties in it: Verdugo, Devers, Yoshida, Casas, and Duran. I just can't do it with Sonny Gray today.
Yeah, I mean, if Sonny Gray delivers here, another big performance, then yeah, I mean, we got to start taking him real seriously. But he's got to prove it to me at least one more time in a tough matchup here going into Fenway. Like you said, 4 pretty decent lefties against him. So yeah, I guess to sum it up for me, Strider kind of alone up top, and then mixing in Eovaldi, Logan Gilbert, Jordan Montgomery, in that order for me as well in terms of my preference between the 3.
I like that. So, I mean, we spent a little bit more time on pitchers today, but there are a lot of spots in this 12-gamer where they're going to be cross-offs. I mean, there's very obviously chalky spots. So there's going to be some cross-offs. So we want to take some time, focus on the pitchers. Didn't mention everyone, but damn near did. So before we get into the hitters and breaking down game by game, I got to do some housekeeping. Stop booing me. Stop throwing tomatoes. Guys, hit that like button. Hit the subscribe button. Get over to the website. Get in the Discord. All these early cores, these early showdowns, like for the Boston Marathon the other day. My Red Sox did Ohtani pretty dirty, but like we have cores for all that, and you have to be in the Discord to get them. You got to be signed up. Use the promo code DC15, Kurt15, Gary15. Get you 15% off that first sub. And then we got so much stuff. MLB today, we got Boynton, I think, in the playbook, or maybe Glock. Don't know. But they got a heat map for it. You got these guys' cores. You got DC's player pool. He's ranking all these guys. It's just so beneficial. So get in there. I mean, just dip your waters. Get a taste. You might pay off your sub in one night. I've had multiple people do that. So don't be afraid. Dip the toes. All right. Let's get into it. We got the first game. I saw someone said there was an explosion in New York. Don't know how true that is. But anyways, we're going Yankees-Angels as the Angels continue their East Coast road trip. Gary, I'll start with you for these hitters. What are we liking?
Man, I really like both sides of this game for hitting. Got the wind blowing out in Yankee Stadium. Both Jose Suarez and Clark Schmidt, who DC and I were kind of high on going into the season. They just look awful to start the year. I'm more so on the Yankee side here. The bullpen for the Angels is a lot worse than the Yankees bullpen. The Yankees bullpen is actually pretty good this season, as usual. So I was debating 5-manning LA and New York as my 5-man teams. I'm just going to come off of LA here. I just, I take into the bullpens into consideration here. But I absolutely love the Yankees in this spot. I love the lineup. Anybody not named Isaiah Kiner Falefa or Aaron Hicks might make my lineup tonight. Those two can, let me stop talking smack before they go off tonight. But yeah, I really, really like the bats here, preferably the Yankee side, but I will not talk you off of having Angels 5-man stack.
Nice, I like it. I mean, Volpe's so cheap. What's he at now? My thing
3,300.
Yeah, that's great. Thanks. My thing's not loading. But anyways, yeah. So DC breaking down. I know Jake Lamb, 2017 All-Star, little slight emergence maybe with the Angels. Any interest in the Angels stack?
Yeah, I kind of like both these offenses as well. Clark Schmidt, yeah, like Gary said, did have some decently high hopes for him entering that Yankees rotation, but hasn't looked good to me. I've watched all 3 of those starts. And yeah, it's been tough sledding for Clark Schmidt. So yeah, I'm definitely off him here. Maybe this is the start that he turns it around, but if he does so, it won't be in my lineup. And yeah, I think the Angels obviously have the power to do some serious damage against Schmidt, who just struggling to miss bats, struggling to finish hitters off. And yeah, they got the big 3 at the top there: Ward, Ohtani, Trout, all look really good to me. I think you could make a case specifically Ohtani as being one of the very best hitters on this slate. Schmidt specifically I think he's going to continue to really struggle against left-handed bats. So Ohtani, my favorite one-off there, but certainly you can go to that whole Angel stack if you want to. Same thing with the Yankees. I mean, to me, the two clear best plays are Volpe and Aaron Judge at the very top of the lineup. I wouldn't mind just even using those two and moving on, in a 5-2-1 type build, something like that. Because I do think they're kind of head and shoulders above the rest of the lineup. But yeah, Torres, LeMahieu, those guys are all okay. I just don't love the bottom half of this lineup. I don't necessarily love it left versus left for Rizzo. So Volpe, Judge, clear two best plays on the Yankees. And then I do like Ohtani a ton. Both stacks are in play, but usually, when I can identify who I think are just clear best one-offs, or in the Yankees case, a 1-2 at the top of the lineup, I kind of like to just use those two guys and then use a different stack elsewhere. So that'll probably mostly be my approach with this Yankees-Angels game. Certainly, though, you could go to full stacks if you wanted to.
All right, I like it. It is probably is not. It may be in the top 5 of one of the better games, but we got a lot to get to. Let's break it down. Becoming one of the funnest teams in baseball, the Baltimore Orioles. So they got the gross nats here. What's the Beltway? Is it the Beltway rivalry or some shit we call it? I don't know, but they're close to each other. Anyways, Washington is very Joshua Gray. Last time I was on the show, we talked about him. A little hurtful, but the guy does not handle lefty power very well. The Orioles have that. Gary, are you playing some of these Orioles today? They've been so fun to watch this year.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of tough for me. I mean, Josiah Gray, so he switched up some stuff this offseason. He's throwing a lot less of his fastball. He's throwing a lot more, and he introduced a cutter into his repertoire. I think he's going to get better as the season goes on here. I think you're going to see, a downtick. It's pretty easy from the year that he had last year. A downtick in home runs given up. I just like other teams more as far as the 5-man stack here. I don't hate Baltimore as like a 3-man filler stack, but I'm not going to be 5-man on them here. And the Nationals, I mean, they have a equally good match. They have probably arguably a better matchup on the other side against Dean Kramer here, but I just can't click these guys into my lineups on an 11-game slate. Can't do it. So I'm probably just going to leave Baltimore for the power guys. In a 2 or 3-man mini stacks.
Wow. Parking garage claps in New York. Anyways, DC, are you gonna fade Gray here? We going back to some Gray exposure?
I think I'll be in on Gray, not tonight, but when he has a better matchup than this. I just what is there? I mean, 6 lefties, I think 5 or 6 lefties in this lineup for Baltimore, including 2 really tough ones right at the top. Right, Mullins, Rushman is not the first 2 guys you want to face when you're trying to, get a good start going, a good first inning. So yeah, I do like the changes Josiah Gray made. He was okay in that last start. Didn't hurt you, didn't help you. But not going to him here. Probably should have mentioned Dean Kramer being in play, just given how bad this Nationals lineup is. Kramer himself isn't any good really, but it's a tough slate for pitching and he's 6,200. So yeah, if I was playing a bunch of lineups, probably would include Kramer in my player pool, just taking advantage of one of the worst offenses in baseball here with the Nationals. But yeah, I'm not playing any Nationals against Kramer. Just like Gary said, this team is just it's hard to find upside here. I mean, any team can go off on any night, but I'll be surprised if it's the Nationals who end up putting up 10-plus runs and being on the winner when it's all said and done. But the Orioles, I do think, are interesting. I mean, I would stick to the lefties for the most part. But, yeah, I mean, Mullins, Rushman, specifically at the top. Gunnar Henderson hasn't looked good, but I don't mind him down there in the 7th hole. And even Jorge Mateo, I know he's a right-handed hitter, but, man, he's been on fire, stealing a base every chance he gets. He'll run on Josiah Gray, I'm pretty sure, if he does get on base. So, yeah, I think this Orioles team does definitely have some upside. Of course, you've got I think the second worst bullpen in baseball in the Washington Nationals. On the road, you get all 9 innings of at-bats. Yeah, the Orioles certainly have upside. They didn't end up making my kind of top 5 stacks, but they weren't far outside of it. And if this was last year's version of Josiah Gray, I think the Orioles would have been a little bit higher up my list. But I do think he's a little bit improved, and that's enough for me, I guess, to look elsewhere for the most part today.
All right, I like it. So on to my Red Sox. Not a great game, but it's in Fenway, and the Twins exploded last week. So maybe we want a little action here, Gary. We still haven't gotten anything too juicy quite yet, but it's coming. Is it this one?
No, not for me. I mean, I don't like either pitcher here, but I just like other offenses on this slate more. I mean, Chris Sale has been, I think he's given up almost 3 home runs per 9 against right-handed hitters. So I mean, maybe mini stacks for Minnesota. I know in Sabre they were popping pretty hard for me earlier when I ran a build. So I don't know how much I'm going to have. Just like other offenses more. Just the context of the slate kind of thing. And Boston, I mean, you can target the lefties for Boston. Like I mentioned earlier, Gray has, in the small sample so far this year anyway, he's been pretty bad versus left-handed hitters. So Devers, I mean, he has as good a chance as anybody else to hit a home run tonight. And I like him quite a bit as a one-off here. Basically one-off here for me on this game. Not going to have any stacks here.
DC, aren't you from Minnesota?
I am from Minnesota, yeah. People that watch the show know. Too high on the Twins on many slates. Not really on them here, though, or the Red Sox, frankly. Mostly just kind of taking a pass on this game. I think my favorite thing to do in this game, if I was going to attack it in any way, would be to stack the Twins, just because Chris Sale, I just don't trust him right now. I think he's very capable of giving up like 5 or 6 runs in the first inning, just walking guys, and then they eventually get a couple big hits. That wouldn't shock me at all, especially in Fenway Park, where we know it's one of the friendliest parks in baseball, for just balls in play, right? It's just kind of not necessarily for home runs, but sometimes you can string the hits together. You just hit a lazy fly ball left field and you got a double on your hand. So, yeah, like that Correa, Buxton, Miranda 2-3-4, I think would be a fun, maybe another 5-man with someone else. But I could see it. I could see Chris Sale totally imploding. And honestly, I wouldn't be that surprised if Sonny Gray did either, right? Like nobody is going to be on, I don't think, the Red Sox side of this one. They are at home in Fenway where they're very good. I'm not going to do it myself, but yeah, I wouldn't be. I could just see this game going a number of different ways. Even a pitcher's duel between Sale and Gray wouldn't totally shock me, but I could also see either offense kind of exploding into life here. So I don't know. I'll be hoping it's kind of just a normal 5-3 type game, since I'm not really on either side of it. But I do think this is kind of a wild card game where if you're looking to get different, both pitchers and both offenses are going to be low owned. And I think it's a game that could go a number of different ways.
Yeah, definitely a game to consider for MMA 150, maybe even 20 max, stuff like that. Especially the Red Sox stack, especially the Devers call from my boy Gary.
Yeah, I like the Devers call. Yep.
So next we might have, I wish Seager was in the lineup, but one of my favorite non-core stacks was the Rangers. Before we get into that game, though, guys, hit that like button, please. We'll keep giving these free shows, they're dropping this awesome knowledge on y'all for free. All you got to do is just slide up the app, click that button, takes you 2 seconds, por favor. Let's get into it. Gary, are you on this? Is your favorite non-core stack the Rangers?
No, I like both pitchers in this game quite a bit. So I'm not going to have any bats here. I'm just now seeing this Texas lineup. I mean, they got Jankowski, Grossman, Brad Miller, Duran, who hasn't been good. Sandy Leone is catching. Not even Jonah Heim. I mean, he's out of the lineup. I can't play these guys without Seager. I'm just gonna hold off my Texas shares until Seager comes back. And yeah, I'm gonna have a lot of both pitchers here, so no offense here for me.
Put some respect on Sandy Leone's name, baby. Come on, Red Sox legend. DC, how you feel about this lineup? Pretty shitty or what?
Yeah, that's actually really good hitting weather in Kansas City, which is one thing to note. Not on the Rangers bats. I think Keller will be okay in this game, but like I said, I'm not personally going there to Keller. I actually would prefer to play Dean Kramer over Keller straight up, and I think he'll be lower owned as well. So if I'm going down in that range on DraftKings,
can we get some bucks on that? Can I get some decent bucks on that?
Yeah,
lunch money, $20.
We'll get a good lunch bet going. Brad Keller versus Dean Kramer. We're on. Yeah, like I said, I do like Eovaldi some. I do think he's got upside. He's got downside too, though, given the weather, and I mean, the Royals put it on him last start. We just literally just saw it. So I actually do like Melendez and Pasquantino in particular as pretty interesting one-offs to take Eovaldi deep. But if that doesn't happen, I think Eovaldi's got a chance to rack up some strikeouts and go pretty deep into this game as well. So yeah, more on the Eovaldi side, fading Keller, and not a ton of offense here for me outside of Melendez, Pasquantino one-offs for the most part.
Couldn't get you interested in the Rangers lineup. Understandable after how bad it looks on paper. But might I interest you in a Cardinals GPP stack, the unproven Jameson kid? I don't love to target the park, but a lot of talent in that lineup. Gary, you like the Cardinals? Assuming you don't like the Diamondbacks.
Man, this is another game I just want to cross off the slate. I'm not going to bet on the Cardinals here. I mean, I think Jameson's going to be a pretty good pitcher. Moving forward, maybe not this game. I'm not going to pick on him here. St. Louis has just treated us dirty the whole season so far. They haven't. I don't think they've shipped the slate yet, and I don't think it's going to happen tonight. So yeah, I'm not going to have any bats in this game or any pitchers. Just going to fade it.
Ooh, you got a little late hammer with the hitters then. DC, what do you like?
Yeah, like I said, I do like Jordan Montgomery, the fourth pitcher for me on the slate. He's a little bit overpriced. I think you could make the case, 9,500 on DraftKings, but I mean, outside of Spencer Strider, I kind of think all the pitchers are overpriced. So yeah, it makes less of a difference, obviously, if there's no real good value, which is kind of how I see the slate. So I do like Montgomery. I think he'll pitch well. The Cardinals aren't a team that I love to pick on, but even Jack Flaherty, I think he got through 6 innings or almost 6 innings with giving up just one run. They foolishly brought him back out for the 7th, and he got hit around a little bit there. But kind of the same reasons that I gave yesterday for liking Flaherty. Really good at controlling the run game. Jordan Montgomery, the same thing. That's one of the biggest strengths of this Diamondbacks team. And some of the better hitters on the Diamondbacks do swing from the left side. Rojas, Corbin Carroll. I think Montgomery is going to neutralize those guys. And yeah, I mean, we really haven't seen Christian Walker get going. I'm not sure how much Evan Longoria has. I just kind of like this matchup for Jordan Montgomery. I think he'll pitch well enough to be for sure, I think, a top 5 arm on this slate for DraftKings points or FanDuel points, whatever you want to use. So I'm on the Montgomery side of that side of the matchup. And I agree with Gary. I kind of like what I've seen from Dre Jameson, but he's not really stretched out enough. I think you're probably looking at 70-ish pitches for him in this one. Good lineup still for the Cardinals. I know they've kind of struggled so far, but Dre Jameson isn't a pitcher I want to pick on, and I'm not going to use him in a tough matchup when he's going to give you, I think, 5 innings max. I think 4 innings is more likely, and he's not even that cheap at 7,100. So just kind of fading both sides of that matchup. Really, in this game, the thing that I'm most looking at by far is Jordan Montgomery against the Diamondbacks. Not going to much offense here.
All right, now we got the little appetizer before the game that everyone wants to hear about, obviously. A team that I always stack every time. I'm a 3-max guy usually. Well, I've been 150ing a lot this year, but most nights I do like to keep it to 3-max, and I always make sure I got a Blue Jays stack. Always, always, always. They're in Houston. Short left field. The Toronto righties, a little favorable for them. My favorite. Gary, is this your favorite non-Coors?
No. But
you're just gonna have that every time until it's
I do. I want to be Toronto. You know I want to be Toronto. I love stacking Toronto.
It's not Toronto for me. Urquidy is some guy that I normally just don't stack against. He just and Houston's bullpen's really good. Like, man, I just can't do it here. But I do love me some Houston here. They're one of my favorite stacks on the slate. The Basset Hound himself has been just terrible against lefties specifically so far this season. I mean, I know the bottom of the lineup is kind of watered down here. This is kind of like the first slate of the year for me that I'm really excited for a 5-man Houston stack here tonight. I'm seeing ownerships on these guys 3% and lower. Oh, baby. I think it's going to be a good night to run with some 5-man Houston stacks. I don't really see how Toronto is favored here. Even in Houston. I mean, I get the lineups watered down, but man, I really like some Kyle Tucker, Jordan Alvarez, Alex Bregman, Pena, Abreu. I'll even get some of these cheapies in there. Jake Myers, 2K, Martin Maldonado, 2,400. Really like this stack here tonight. One of my favorites on the slate, but I am against you on the Toronto side because I have no interest in their bats tonight.
Purple. DC, I know we're facing ground ball boy, but tell me these Toronto bats can get a little bit of pop.
Yeah, I actually like both offenses here quite a bit. We saw what Houston can do to Gausman last night, right? So much power in that lineup. They can certainly do it to Chris Bassett, who has looked really bad through 3 starts. I think that's going to be kind of a little bit of a theme for him, just a tougher pitching environment than he's used to. He was in Oakland and New York, and I think New York. I can't remember for sure, but yeah, yep. I'm in on Houston here. I think they're going to do some damage. Obviously got hot yesterday. I think they'll stay hot in this one. And Jose Urquidy, pitching for the Astros, has pretty severe reverse splits over the course of his career. One of the more there's not very many pitchers who have true reverse splits that span multiple years. He is one of those guys, so he gets hit harder by right-handed bats than he does against lefties. And the right-handed bats for Blue Jays, that's mostly what you want, right? Springer, Bichette, Vlad Guerrero right at the top of that lineup. Matt Chapman has been one of the very best hitters in baseball this year. You've got Varsho getting cleanup if you want to get a lefty in there as well. So yeah, I think the Blue Jays and Astros could do damage here. Christian Javier, he got through it yesterday. He gave up some hard hit fly balls. George Springer just missed a couple times. It looked like watching that game, both of those offenses were pretty locked in. I expect to see the same here. So I think we're going to see some fireworks on Blue Jays, Astros, and I think both these offenses will go relatively low owned. So I really like this game for offense. No interest in either pitcher for me.
All right, well, everyone, you can get the lotion out, pull down those trousers. We are to everyone's favorite game. Coors Field, 2 shitty pitchers, pricing not very correct, still a little bit too cheap. Gary, obviously everyone's going to like it. How can we get different here? And also, how can we eat some good chalk?
So my way of getting different, I'm fading Colorado 100%. I'm not going to have any mini stacks. I'm not going to have any full stacks of Colorado specifically. They just haven't really looked good to me. And looking at the numbers so far, I even did a home splits for them, and they have the 7th lowest WOBA at home this season. So they're clearly not hitting the ball very well at home. I think fading Colorado here is the move for me here tonight. I simply cannot fade Pittsburgh in this spot against a lunch pail, basically. I mean, he may as well be bagging groceries at your local Wegmans. But I love me the Pittsburgh stacks here. I'm probably still not going to 5-man them just because they're going to be so high owned as a 5-man stack tonight. I think I'm just going to mini stack them, keep them in my pool for mini stacks. And, as y'all could, tell from the games that I don't like earlier, there's a lot of offenses that I like later. So I'm just going to focus my 5-man stacks on those plus the Houston 5-mans and reserve these Pittsburgh Pirates for mini stacks. One thing I will say, now we got Brian Reynolds batting from the left side, which is the best side that you want Brian Reynolds hitting from. So definitely love him here tonight. Love this lineup top to bottom. They're still too cheap. Even Brian Reynolds, 5,800. I mean, he's been smashing right-handed pitching so far to start the season. Love him here. Like I said, top to bottom, Pittsburgh. Like him a lot. But just game theory here for me tonight. I'm just going to reserve him for mini stacks.
I think that's definitely one way to get different. A lot of people are going to be on the Rockies bats. Obviously, my favorite Pittsburgh is my boy Juan Bay. I played him game number 1 and my main.
You do love the Asians.
I do love the Asians. I love that kid. So I'm on him. DC, are you kind of taking the same approach? Are you getting different? And how much Bay are you going to have? You need a lot of it to be profitable.
Yeah, I had him last night. He was good. The the Pirates had like a bunch of bleeders that just went through yesterday. Like they must have had like 10 just ground ball hits like up the middle or between the shortstop and third baseman. They all count, obviously, but they weren't absolutely teeing off. I will say Jose Urena pitching tonight for Rockies. Like you can go back to his Miami days a few years ago. He just gets absolutely crushed by left-handed bats in particular. So Reynolds, Bay, like you mentioned, a couple of cheap guys in the middle there. Sawinski, Smith, and Jigba, I think, are interesting punts now. They are definite risks to get pinch hit for when a righty or a lefty rather comes in the game for Urania, but they're cheap enough where one swing of the bat could make them worth it. So yeah, I like the Pirates. I'm not going to go too crazy with them tonight. They're not my number one stack or anything like that, but it's a good spot. 70 degrees and 20-mile-per-hour winds out to center field. Coors Field, actually, obviously everyone knows about the altitude, but it's actually one of the parks that's affected by wind the most. You know, when it is windy, it really does affect the flight of the ball. So, yeah, anything up in the air is gonna really be traveling in Coors Field tonight. So we could absolutely see this game go crazy. Wouldn't shock me whatsoever. Velasquez actually looked pretty good in his last start against St. Louis. It's not something I expect to continue. So yeah, I do like the Rockies more than Gary. I get the fade. I mean, you can make a case for fade in Coors Field kind of anytime, especially when we know it's going to be super popular. This doesn't always work out. Things happen in baseball in a one-game sample size, but I still do like some of these guys, specifically really the left-handed bats on both sides in this game. Profar, Blackman, McMahon, my three favorite guys for the Rockies, and then the lefties, Reynolds and Bay, my favorite two for Pirates. I'm I think doing mostly maybe what Gary is, mini stacking, not going to either of these teams as my primary stack, but kind of filling in the bats that I really like with lineups, just seeing how they fit. But no, I'm not going super crazy with this game either.
It's just so hard to completely fade because, I mean, like, you got Coors, you got two shitty pitchers, you get the wind blowing out. It's like, even if you want to get cute, just do a mini stack, like, of at least one of the teams, even a mini stack. I mean, it's really, really good conditions. But let's go to a park that is not good for hitters, but does have DC's call of the day yesterday, Mr. Wisdom. Gary, the Cubbies, the A's. What you doing?
I have to go back to the Cubs here. I mean, this Waldichuk dude is just bad. He belongs in the same bucket as Urena, in my opinion. And then you get to the bullpen, which is like way bad. I think their xFIP is like almost a full run worse than the next worst bullpen in the league. So I'm going to be all back aboard on this Cubs train tonight. I don't care about the park. I mean, they did it last night. They didn't care about the park last night. They're not going to care about them again here tonight. And I think, I mean, I'm seeing ownerships. I don't know how they're not popular after what they did last night. But man, Saber is showing 3% or less on all these dudes. I don't know if that's right, but man, sign me up for that tonight. Nico Horner, like him here. He's probably going to steal 2 or 3 bags. Like him a lot. Like all this lineup, top to bottom. Dansby's been hitting really well. Cody Bellinger's actually been hitting pretty good the last week or so. So, yeah, the Cubs is one of my favorite stacks on the slate. And like I said earlier, I do love me some Stroman.
I think your dog is also a big Cubs truther. The dog's going crazy. I love it. I'm sorry, Gary. DC, are you going back to your Cubbies? It's not a great park. I'm assuming that's what's leading to the lower ownership. But hey, when the bats are hot, you're hot, and you just called them yesterday. How you treating?
Yeah, they're my number one stack yesterday. They came through in a big way. We had Patrick Wisdom as the play of the day. I'm going right back to it. My number one stack again here are the Cubs. Like I mentioned yesterday, I kind of went in depth about how bad their bullpen is. Man, like, yes, the park's not the greatest for hitting in the world, but when you're just walking guys, putting guys all over the bases, you know, his Wisdom that got the 2 home runs, he can hit it out of anywhere. That's kind of why I picked him, because he's not really affected by the park quite as much without the power. So he is my favorite Cub once again. But yeah, I'm in on this team. It just Waldichuk sucks, but it is the bullpen that is the primary target here for me with the A's, and this is going to be a recurring thing for me. I'm going to be on the team against Oakland almost blindly until further notice. Actually got a really interesting pitcher going tomorrow. So tomorrow might be the one exception. We got an early show tomorrow, early baseball. But yeah, for this game, I'm back in, and give me that low total. Give me that 4.3 team total for the Cubs. Keep people off this team. I'll go right back to it. Yeah, I think they're gonna put 20 base runners on base again, and when that happens, got a good chance to score 10 plus runs. Super high on the Cubs once again. Other side of this game, I know people are going to Stroman. I talked a lot about him early on. Still not fully believing it, but as bad as the A's pitching staff is, their offense isn't as bad, but it's still a bottom 3 offense in the league. I get it with Stroman. I'm not going there myself, and I'm certainly not going to any A's hitters. I'll just be hoping Stroman goes, 5 or 6 innings, 4 strikeouts, couple earned runs, and it doesn't end up on the winner. Don't think he's going to get blown up or anything like that. So not going to the A's bats, but give me all the Cubbies here.
That seems like the most likely thing to happen. I mean, at some point, Sherman's going to regress to the mean. And I think that's the exact stat line we're going to get from the night, especially for the price. Like, oh god, if that beats me, that beats me. I'm sorry, but anyways, Gilbert, next game. First, guys, hit the like button. I've not been an ass about it, so please help us out. Hit that like button. We're giving you all free shows, giving you all the good stuff on the site. Kurt 15, DC 15, Gary 15. Get everything from the playbook, the heat map, the Coors, literally anything you can think of. So much content, all sports one price. RunPureSports.com. Check it out. Gilbert's one of the most popular pitchers, so I doubt the Brewers will be high as far as ownership goes, but maybe you guys want to get sneaky. Mariners, maybe, is a place to go. Gary, let me unmute you. What are you thinking?
Yeah, I think, it's just the pitchers here for me. Probably not going to have much Ray, but I'm going to have a lot of Gilbert. Like him a ton here. So, yeah, this is a pretty easy cross-off game here for bats for me.
The total's really not bad, though. I mean, I don't know. I got to see the ownership on these Mariners. Yeah, so we got –
they're going to be low.
Yeah, that's not – I don't know. I like it for a little MME. DC, Mariners stack, maybe?
Yeah, one interesting thing about the Rays is their bullpen this year has not been nearly the dominant force that we've seen in years past. I think partly that's because of all the injuries that they've endured. And partly, too, I think because they've, in the beginning they were just crushing everybody, that they were kind of using some of the guys, they wouldn't use in a close game. But I don't think they're, at least in my mind, not the – I don't know why I'm talking about the Rays right now.
I was like,
what do you guys cut me off before I kept going? But anyway, a note there on the Rays. This game, we'll talk to the right game here. I just don't love this game. I mean, the Mariners, I think, are okay. Like Colin Ray is not a guy to avoid. So, yeah, you could go to the Mariners stack. Jared Kalanick, Cal Raleigh. I do like those two lefties against Colin Ray. And then I'm with Gary, definitely in on Logan Gilbert here. Talked about it yesterday. This Brewers team started off pretty hot, but they've certainly kind of cooled down over the last week or so. And there are strikeouts to be had in this lineup for sure. Logan Gilbert, good pitcher, and especially good over the course of his young career when he's pitching at home, which he is tonight. So I'm expecting a pretty damn good outing from Logan Gilbert. And I think he's pretty safe too. So yeah, definitely one of my favorite pitchers tonight.
Yep. Like it. Going to be lower owned than Stroman, so that's always nice. Yeah, we're just going to keep shit on him. He's going to go nuke. But to Gary's favorite team, and to it's a little bit of a pitcher's duel, even though it sounds pretty erratic. Braves, Padres. Gary, about a 4 total for your Braves. What you thinking? You going to ride it? You going to be a homer?
You're on mute, Gary.
Nope, that's me. That's on me. Hand up. That's on me. It's not Gary's fault. That's on me.
I don't know how y'all are hearing my dog, by the way, because I literally put the microphone on mute every time, unless it's coming through my webcam too. Yeah, I don't know if it's coming through my webcam too. I don't know. Anyway, I bumped the Braves team total in Saber up to 4.8. That should tell you what I'm doing with them here tonight. anytime Blake Snell is chalk, I'm going to attack that pitcher. I'm going to attack him every time, and especially with my Braves, as much power as they have against left-handed pitchers. Austin Riley, Ronald Acuna is finally looking like himself from 2 years ago again. I mean, just mashing the ball, getting off base, hitting the ball the other way, making awesome plays in the outfield. Love me a Brave stroke fest here. Love this lineup top to bottom here. You got Murphy. He's been smashing the ball ever since K. Fallick says he hasn't done nothing. All he heard about all season was how good of a trade it was and this and that. Well, here's how good of a trade it was, K. Fallick. So, yeah, I love me some Sean Murphy here. Love me some Austin Riley. Vaughn Grissom in the lineup, 3,400. Kevin Pillar, actually, I mean, I don't hate Kevin Pillar here. I looked at, I'm trying to pull it back up, but BVP, he doesn't have any homers, but he hits Snell pretty well. I'm trying to pull it up here. He's got, what is he? He's batting about 500, 9 for 23, 3 doubles, six singles, a walk, only 3 strikeouts, slugging 522. Kevin Pillar in that 9-hole, don't hate him as a punt. He's 2,200. Just skip over Marcell Ozuna. Just X him out of your pool. The dude sucks. I think I saw something on Twitter the other day. I think in like 10 more or like a week or two, he reaches 10 years of service so he can qualify for the pension. I think that might be what the Braves are trying to, they're trying to get to that date so they can then release him so he can qualify for his pension. But man, the dude just stinks. I mean,
what a great guy, Marcell Ozuna. You need to make sure he gets his pension, right?
I mean, I guess. I mean, but hey, we got players in the league that have done a lot worse than Marcell Ozuna. So
I know, but you don't have to put him in the starting lineup, right? You still get the service time if you're not in there. Yeah. Hey,
Snicker is loyal, man, and Ozuna did very well in the spring. And, I think Snick is like hanging on to that thread where like, is he going to just, no, don't click Marcell Ozuna. Of course now, yeah, he's gonna hit a home run tonight just because I'm talking shit on him.
From the Ozuna rant, I'm gonna plug a Marcell Ozuna share in one of my laps.
Yeah,
but I'm with you on the Braves. I mean, I think they're gonna smash Snell. And the thing about the Braves, man, when they do damage, it's via the long ball, speed. You can run on Snell, and then Snell himself, like definitely a talented pitcher, but man, he can get absolutely nuked at times. So yeah, I'm in on this Brave stack as well. It's got to be, Acuna leading the way. Just watching, I've watched a lot of baseball. He looks like the clear best player in the league right now. Power, speed, crazy defense, like you said. Just even when he makes outs, right? It's like you just miss one off the barrel. It'll be a long fly out to left field. He just looks on fire. I actually think he only has like 2 or 3 home runs, I think. Those are coming, man. I think about one of my predictions early on this season or before the season started, he was going to go 50-50. That's looking like it. I think it could happen. The steals have been there. I think the power's coming for Ronald Acuna. He's one. You want to stay on this guy right now. Play him as often as you can. He's going to have huge games more often than not. So love Acuna. But yeah, Riley, Murphy, Grissom, Albies, I think in that order is who I'm looking at from the Braves. Of course, you can mix in the other guys as well, but I do like mainly those guys. And then, yeah, I'm not going to go to any Padres against Spencer Strider. So pretty simple for me, and it sounds like Gary too. A lot of Braves. Sounds like I like Strider a little bit more than Gary does, but yeah, this Brave stack could be low owned. They got team total of 4. It's a tough part to hit, and I get all that. They can absolutely nuke Blake Snell. There's no question about it.
Always good to have a late hammer like the Braves. Another low-owned late hammer potentially. I'm seeing really low ownership. The Dodgers stack. I think it's kind of sneaky. It'd probably be in my top 5. Gary, you like the late hammer, or you said you're trusting these Mets? What's the deal?
Yeah, so I mean, early in the day, Miguel has just been terrible against left-handed pitching or left-handed hitters. So, I definitely am in on some Dodgers lefties here. But one thing that worries me, I think Will Smith got hurt last night or the night before last. I don't see him in the projected lineup here. That's definitely a hit for the 5-man stack. So, Freeman, Muncy, Outman, even Jay Hay. J-Hay, I mean, is he, what's going on with him? Because he's got a 409 ISO against right-handed pitching so far this season. I know it's a small sample, but he's been hitting them pretty good. So I think I'm just going to stick with Dodgers mini stacks, but I do like them a lot. I just think Will Smith being out of the lineup, I mean, that's a big loss. I mean, he's one of their best hitters, probably their second or third best hitter on this team. So, yeah, I do like the Dodgers quite a bit here, but I'm just going to reserve them for mini stacks. So I think I'm just going to be 5-man and 4 teams tonight.
All right, a lot of mini stack considerations today. I like that. DC, you want us with the Dodgers stack?
Not going to the stack here, but like you said, I do think they'll be low owned. So usually, you try to pick off one-offs from low owned teams, so that when that player does damage, there's not a ton of stacks that are kind of benefiting from it as well. Yeah, Freddie Freeman looks like an incredible one-off to me. Heating up lately, like you said, McGill not nearly as good against lefties. I think Freeman's just got just about everything going for him tonight, including some pretty low ownership. So. Yeah, I'll be including some Freddie Freeman, but I'm not going to a full Dodgers. And then no Mets for me against Kershaw. Just so unlikely to get blown up when it's all said and done. So, yeah, pretty simple game. Decent amount of Freeman, not a ton else from this last game for me.
I actually don't mind the little stack. I like the total. Yeah. I like it as a late. Oh, man. Can you imagine just charging up super late if they score like 8 or 9? Oh, baby doll. I love it. All right, guys, we're at the conclusion. Like I said, I've not been on you too much about it. Hit that like button. I have no idea what we're at. Can someone tell me, please, so we can give out the plays of the day, the stacks of the day? Help me. Someone help me. DC, help me.
I don't got it up. I can't tell you. I literally can't tell you.
I'm going to assume how much?
We'll give them out. We're good.
Ooh. Okay, not bad. We have a decent ratio. I'll take it. DC, we'll start with you. Let's do 2 favorite pitchers, favorite stack, and your home run call of the night.
Yeah, 2 favorite pitchers, Strider and Eovaldi. Favorite stack is the Cubs. Talked about them, and I won't give out the same play of the night as last night. Wisdom, he did double dong for us, but hard to do it 2 nights in a row. I do really like him. I will have plenty of exposure there, but I'll give out a different play. We'll go to the Braves. We'll go Vaughn Grissom has his first big game of the year for the Braves tonight, hitting out of the 6-hole pretty cheap at 3,400. So yeah, we'll do Vaughn Grissom as the mom's basement play of the night.
Yeah, I wish we had the graphic for it. That's on me. But Gary, what's your play today? I did it. That's on me. Once again. Sorry.
Yeah. So my favorite 2 pitchers, I like Stroman and Eovaldi here quite a bit. I'm leaning on that to be my main team for now. As far as the stack, I mean, I like 4 stacks on today's slate. As far as 5-mans go, I like the Yankees, I like the Astros, I like the Cubs, and I like the Braves. So I'm going to play 25% in my 20 lineups, 5-man stacks of those teams. I really like the Cubs here. I'm going to go right back to them. And my play of the day is going to be from the Cubs. I'm not going to pull a Braves homer play. I could always say Riley against the lefty. Not going to do that, even though he will hit a dong tonight. I'm going to go with Nico Horner from the Cubs. I think he's going to smash. I like him here a lot tonight.
All right. Yeah, about the play of the day, guys. I'll even throw up a bonus one. A little to save the worst for last. I'm going to go Eovaldi, favorite pitcher, Gilbert. Home run call going to be Devers.
I think Kurt might have froze in like the very last second of the show. So I don't know if we're allowed to capable of ending this show, Gary. Do you know? All right, we're not sure. I'm just gonna close out of the show, I guess, and hope that it's all over. We're not sure what's going on. Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll be back tomorrow, early tomorrow morning, 11 Eastern time, early baseball slate. A lot of games. I think it's like a 10 or 11 game slate tomorrow morning. So we'll be back. Thanks for watching. For Kurt, for Gary, I'm DC. We'll check you next time.